Welcome to Juniper Level Botanic Garden. This is a little class on some of the plants that add so much pleasant fragrance to the garden. And I realized I forgot Edgeworthia. Yeah, thank you. No,
You want me to go get it? Or is there one there?
yeah, the one over on the table. If I had just one fragrant plant for the winter garden, I would plant the winter honeysuckle. It is a true honeysuckle. Most people know the vining honeysuckles, but probably just as many honeysuckles are shrubs. It's not a shrub you plant because it's beautiful, but it'll bloom from November into March. It's now March, and it's still blooming. It's quickly going past, but it's a big gangly shrub which you can keep a lot smaller because you don't need a huge plant to have a generous amount of fragrance in the garden. It'll grow in sun, it'll grow in shade, it'll grow in most any types of soil other than soggy soil. I've not known deer to eat the winter honeysuckle. Now we have a member who the deer in her gardens eat everything, including tabletops.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
Yeah, I'll pass. You can pass that around. Now, winter Daphne is another superb shrub for winter fragrance. It doesn't start months earlier like the winter honeysuckle, but it starts in, it can start as early as late January. Some years it doesn't start till February. It's a small evergreen shrub. Those who know a little bit about winter Daphne bemoan the fact that it doesn't live long enough that you can pass it all down to your great-grandchildren. But if you get, 8 to 10 to 12 years out of it, I think you get your money's worth out of it. And it's a pleasant little shrub year-round, and then the fragrance of the flowers are almost as good as dessert. Of course, everybody's nose is different. So many of the Mahonias are fragrant. This one has a very pleasant fragrance. Mahonias, that's a Mahonia right over there, are bold foliage plants, and some bloom in the summer, fall, but the one that's most common in gardens is winter blooming, and I'll pass that around. Now, this is a Witchhazel. It's a selection named Arnold's Promise, introduced from the Arnold Arboretum outside of Boston. The Witchhazels are large deciduous shrubs. Some are native species like Hamamellis virginiana is fall blooming. Vernalis, meaning of spring, are sort of midwinter or very late winter blooming. But this is one of the hybrids that are hybrids between a Chinese species and a Japanese species. And they're great for winter color. If you're looking for fragrance, the thing to know is that some witch hazels have no fragrance at all. Others are wonderfully fragrant. My favorite one for fragrance is one with the cultivar name Aurora. But this is Arnold's Promise, and it is fragrant. The sweet boxes get the common name of sweet box because they're close relatives of boxwood, but they have small fragrant flowers, whereas boxwood flowers smell a little bit like cat. Now these are not being fragrant to me today, but I'll pass them around and maybe they'll be fragrant to other noses. This is, it's this one right here, a lovely low ground covering plant spreading slowly, but most of them are non-spreading upright shrubs, sort of 4 to 5 feet tall. They prefer shade, they're very drought tolerant. Let's see. Most people know Pacysandra, especially if you're from colder parts of the country. It's a very common landscape ground cover. But the one that's commonly grown as a ground cover is a Japanese species, Pacysandra terminalis. Terminalis because the flowers are produced at the terminus of the stem. But this is our native Pacysandra, sometimes called Allegheny spurge. Has this beautiful mottled foliage, and whereas the Japanese species, the commonly cultivated one, has no fragrance, at least it didn't to me this morning, this has a delicious fragrance. And I had oh, here we go. Yeah, and on a warm day like today, you don't have to bend down and smell it, you'll smell it on the air. Now, most hellebores are not fragrant, but there are a couple species that are. One of the species is Hellebores odorous, meaning having an odor. This is a close relative. This is Hellebores ligoricus. It's a little green-flowered species. It's one of my favorites. I like these little sort of wild flowery species. It's almost done blooming. The flowers will remain showy for a long time after it's done blooming. They'll ripen this fruit in the center, but they're no longer actively blooming. I found maybe the last two flowers on the plant, I don't think you'll get any fragrance out of it, but it's a charming. The first time I learned that that species was fragrant, I was in my own garden, had maybe 3 plants of it, and it was a warm day like today, and I just smelled this really nice fragrance on the air, and I traced it back to that plant.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Oh, you're getting a little fragrance out of it? Okay. Oh, and I should have actually maybe started off with this plant. This is Edgeworthia, not that scary a scientific name, because like so many scientific names, they're just commemorating a person. And Edgeworthia is named after somebody with the family name of Edgeworth. But this is Edgeworthia chrysantha, which means gold flower. Its common name is paper plant because it has been cultivated as a source of fiber for making paper. It doesn't bloom until late winter, and then it's powerfully fragrant. You've probably been through the gardens and smelled it in various locations. There are big plants in pretty much full sun. It also perform well in light shade, just average soil. Of course, many of the Narcissus are fragrant. They vary in their fragrance. I despise the smell of paper whites. They always smell like a rotting mouse or something like that with perfume. But many other species are fragrant. The little Algerian iris unguicularis, it has a long period of bloom during mild spells from November into March. I picked this moments ago. And the flowers don't survive a frosty night, so if yours are blooming, pick the flowers and take them in, and they'll be even more fragrant inside in the warmth of the house. Yeah. This is a little wild primrose. This is Primula vulgaris. Vulgaris doesn't mean vulgar in the American English way, but in the British English way, just meaning common, because the yellow forms of Primula vulgaris are the common wildflower in England. They have a lovely fragrance, sort of like sweet violets, and almost nobody's ever experienced sweet violets. You can also take those home if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. But the wild forms of Primula vulgaris and the polyanthus are permanent plants in the garden, but all those bright primroses that you see in the grocery store and garden centers, enjoy them as a pot plant. You can plant them out in the garden, but they generally don't persist, whereas the ones that are adapted to our climate are sort of long-term plants in the garden. A camellia, most often people don't think of camellias as being fragrant, and the fall blooming sasanquas have a fragrance. I don't grow them for their fragrance. A few of the japonicas are fragrant, most aren't, but there are about 200 to 300 wild species of camellias. I don't mean like all the varieties you see in gardens. I mean the wild parents of the garden cultivars, and a few of them are fragrant. And this is a camellia that was actually bred for fragrance. The fragrance is very light, but you can have the experience of a fragrant camellia.
What's that variety, Doug?
Oh, well, thank you. That's Cinnamon Cindy. There's also a single-flowered sport of it called Cinnamon Sensation. Yeah. And its fragrant parent is a Japanese species with teeny tiny white but very fragrant flowers. One of the highlights of our fall open house is the blooming of the tea olive, the Osmanthus fragrans. There's a great big plant down there, and the wind was blowing in the fall, you'd smell it. It's one of my favorite fragrances. But this is another Osmanthus. And Osmanthus actually means fragrant flower. Osmi is fragrance and anthos is flower. This is a hybrid Osmanthus Burkewoodii from Elizabeth Lawrence's garden in Charlotte, and it has the cultivar name of Elizabeth Lawrence. If you like to read, and you like to read garden books, Elizabeth Lawrence's books are the very best.
Is that
Can I ask you a question? One second.
Oh yeah.
is that a spring one then? Is that
Which one? Yeah, it's blooming today.
Oh,
I cut it this morning.
Which is, most of the Osmanthus do in the fall.
The common ones do.
Yeah, that was what I was going to
yeah.
ask. I have some.
Yeah.
They always bloom in the fall.
Yeah, no, that's a valid question. The ones that are common in trades, the Osmanthus fragrans, the tea olive, is generally fall blooming.
Yeah.
About 3 flushes where it blooms and stops and then starts again. And there are some selections that are supposed to do that all year long, but I've not had them behave that way for me.
Like they want that beanie kawa.
This is a very recently introduced hybrid magnolia. There are a lot of things very similar to that, but this is one called Inspiration. I think if you look for it, you'll find it, but it's new enough that it's not readily available. It's becoming a big tree. I should have looked at the label this morning when I cut the stem to see how long we've had it in the garden. I don't think we've even had it 10 years, and it's at least the size of this little conifer here. But when it's fragrant, you can smell it from 50 feet away. And it has a bit of fragrance now, but I think it's one of those things that smells better from a distance than it does when you stick your nose in the flower. But maybe to some of you, it'll smell like the very best thing. And a very interesting viburnum. And you might think it's weeping, I mean not weeping, wilting, but this is Viburnum suspensum because the flower clusters are suspended and it's very fragrant. The viburnums vary from deliciously fragrant to ones that are described as dirty socks. But this is one that I think smells good. It's a pleasant fragrance.
Do the flowers stay there? I have a snowball what I was told was a snowball viburnum.
Yeah.
And my flowers are like this big. So it stays that those flowers won't get bigger than that?
No, they won't. Okay. Yeah. The genus Viburnum is large and they're very varied. And the snowball viburnums are like the difference between a mophead hydrangea and a lacecap hydrangea. Okay. The mophead form of the viburnums are garden forms, and that snowball type of viburnum occurs in at least 3 different species. Oh, and the little blue star flower, this is a pink form of the blue star flower. It's in the same family as onions and garlic, and the foliage smells like that, but the flowers have a pleasant fragrance. Yeah. Let's see, is that everything I cut today? I think so.
Is that a Daphne?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, did you show up a little after we
little late.
started?
Yeah.
This is Daphne odora. You know, let's see. I have 2 Daphnes in my not quite year-old garden that I planted recently, and I acquired 3 more. So even though I know even I will probably outlive these, they're absolutely worth planting because when they bloom, it's like dessert on the air. The fragrance is so delightful. Those are all the things I brought for today. I'm happy to answer questions related topic or any additional information on these particular plants.
What was the wild form of the camellia that you said was fragrant?
It's luchuensis. In a scientific name, when you see the ensis suffix, E-N-S-I-S, it means from. So then you look at the first part of the word. Luchu is another variation on a geographic name in Japan. Like Chinensis is from China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a sinensis.
Yeah, Sinensis also means from China.
Okay.
But, you know, we also used to call some Chinese things Sino, like the Sino-Russo War and stuff like that. Young people probably have never heard that. Yeah, but, yeah.
So a Luchuensis japonica is a Japan plant?
No, it's a separate species. It's not Camellia japonica. It's Camellia luchuensis.
Oh, with the camellia.
Yeah. And there are other fragrant species of camellias. Yeah. All right. Other questions? Thank you for being my beautiful and talented assistant, passing them around. If people want to go home with any of these things, you're welcome to.